Welcome to the session Cybersecurity Threats and Risk Management. In this session, we are going to learn more about cyberspace, cybercrime, cybersecurity and threats, and the risk management part, like what are the best practices to overcome these threats. So in today's session, we are going to deep dive into fundamentals of cybercrime, cybersecurity and threats, importance of cybersecurity, types of cybersecurity, key areas of cybersecurity, cybersecurity threats, and then challenges to cybersecurity, best practices or measures followed by organizations or individuals to secure their cyberspace. Now imagine you build a beautiful house. You might also live in a normal house, whether it is a big house with lot of resources or a small house. It is still prone to external threats or vulnerabilities. Now it might be, point of interest for somebody to steal something from the house. So you might put a nice security system, like you might put a strong gate or a door or an extra iron gate, CCTV monitored security system, or you might also have a strong set of secured layers like dogs which are invigilating around the house. So you might try to do the best of the measures to protect the house. Now this is what happens when we have the digital content. The digital content today is open on the cyberspace. Now this distracts the other users who want to use the digital data for the bad purpose. The digital asset protection is one of the important tasks for individuals, organizations and governments in today's digital world. Now with this prelude, let us start to understand what is cyberspace and cybercrime. If we look at the particular set of statistics which has been recorded in the last few years, it shows that majority of the world is on internet. Like more than 60% of the population using internet poses threat for cybercrimes. As of February 2025, there were 5.56 billion internet users worldwide, which amounted to 67.9% of global population. Now, in the beginning of 2024, there were 7,40,000 cybercrime cases reported to Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center, and this is one of the sharp increase in the recent years. So the number of cyber crimes are increasing from 2019. Now what could be the reasons? Being on internet and creating lot of data by individuals and organizations, and not just creating the digital content, we are transacting on internet. The digital world offers convenience of shopping, trading and multiple other benefits for business and commercial purpose. Now this is one of the reasons why cybercrime is increasing in today's digital world. In 2024, about 85% of cybercrime reports were related to online financial fraud. Like this amounted to almost 1,750 crore amount of financial loss. Now that's a very big number. Now whether it is at individual level or a small or medium firm or a big organization, they are still prone to these cyber threats. Now it is important to protect the digital assets because there might be a monetary loss or a reputation loss or identity theft, or something like an organization might pose its threat in terms of transaction losses. Now because of all these reasons, it is important to secure the digital data. Now the next few minutes we are going to deal with the fundamentals of cyberspace. So let us try to understand how did this word cyber originate. It was in 1940s the cybernetic systems were evolving. Cybernetic derives from the Greek word kubernetes, which refers to a pilot or steersman. Now this simply means the gift of governance. Cybernetics is a major part of games, systems and organizational theory. So a cyberspace is the digital space where lots of computers are connected, put over network for gaming, business or communication purpose. Now that is how it all started in the beginning. Now this posed, threat where data was stored, shared, or people were transacting or sharing information over possible communication networks. Now let us look into the formal definitions of cyberspace, cybercrime and threats. According to NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology, cyber means the interdependent network of information technology infrastructures, which includes the internet, telecommunications network, computer systems and embedded processors and controllers in critical industries. Now with the definition we understand a large number of computers, when they come in contact, they're supposed to share the information for communication purpose. Now this communication could be a financial transaction or a general communication transaction or just enabling some activity occurring over a network. Now a cyber crime is a crime committed on digital world. The cybercrime is illegal activity that involves computers, internet and network of devices. And the people who commit crime on cyberspace are called as cyber criminals. Now there is a sharp increase in the number of cybercrime in the recent statistics what we saw. What are the different types of cyber crimes which are occurring? Some of the most common cyber crimes are phishing, identity theft, botnets, cyber terrorism, social engineering, denial of service like DDoS attacks, ransomware, hacking, etc. Now there are also other types of cyber crime which might include like a business email which comprises of schemes, child exploitation, cryptojacking, cyberbullying, cyber espionage and cyber extortion. Now you might have recently seen like the cyber branch policies are trying to create awareness amongst the general public about digital arrest. Now this is one of the recent cyber scam. Few years ago it would start with an email, then maybe somebody would send you a message. Now how are these people getting the information? Now these people are called as hackers who try to access the information and try to pose different types of threats. Now we need to have certain security measures for this. Cybersecurity refers to the practice of protecting systems, networks and data from cyber threats, unauthorized access and digital attacks. It encompasses various technologies, processes and practices designed to safeguard sensitive information, ensure data integrity and prevent cyber crimes such as hacking, phishing, malware and ransomware attacks. Now having understood that, let us try to understand a bit of cyber threats. A cyber threat is any damage or illegal activity which is occurring towards the digital data. Now having understood all these fundamental concepts, why is it important to have cybersecurity measures? Now as we have been discussing since the beginning, we live in digital world and nearly 70% of the population today is using internet. Now this itself tells the significance of taking precautionary measures. Now whose responsibility is it to secure the data? At individual level, organizational level and at the government level. Now data creators, data securers, like earlier we used to have database administrators who would take care of protecting the data. But today it is more of a shared responsibility. Now when we look at the importance, we see that there might be a financial loss. So it is very, very important to be aware even by the general public. And recently one of the scam shows like the chief finance officer of a company had a deepfake call created and this created heavy loss for the company. Now it might also not only be related to the financial loss, it might also put the brand reputation of the company in threat. Not only that, it could also be disturbing the business process which is occurring, and the organization might also lose the data if it is not securing the cyber data, what it owns by itself and which it is sharing with its business vendors, clients or customers. Now to sum up, very quickly we can say the importance is protecting sensitive business and personal data, preventing financial losses due to cyber frauds, ensuring compliance with regulatory laws. Now we missed this point. Now maybe there are no threats, but it is very, very important for an organization to fulfill the compliance. Like it might be one of the regulatory requirement to protect the data. And above all, it is most important to secure the data for continuity in business and to hold the trust of your business stakeholders. Now, every organization has to look into certain key areas of cybersecurity. It could be anything from the software application to the network or to creating awareness amongst the employees as well as customers. Let us look into some of the key areas of cybersecurity. Network security is all about protecting the networks from intrusions, attacks and unauthorized access. Information security, like ensuring data confidentiality, integrity and availability. In one of the sessions we have discussed about the CIA triad. So every organization tries to integrate this confidentiality, integrity and availability. Application security, where securing softwares and applications from vulnerabilities. Cloud security, protecting cloud-based data, applications and services. Endpoint security, securing devices like computers, mobile phones and IoT devices. Identity and access management, controlling and managing user accesses. Operational security, by laying down policies and procedures for data handling and protection. Now, every organization which is generating, creating and processing digital data needs to take care of these key areas to protect the cyber space. Now, let us look into cybersecurity threats. There are different types of threats as we listed earlier. Now, let us spend some time on understanding how these individual threats are occurring and what could be the measures. We will be discussing it at the later point. Some of the cybersecurity threats which could be listed are malware, phishing attacks, ransomware, denial of service, which is called as DOS or DDoS, or MITM, which is called as men in the middle attacks, zero-day exploits. Now, to start with, the first one we are going to discuss with the cybersecurity threat is malware. A malware is a malicious software. So, it is a combination of two words, malicious software. Now, it is a program which is created to harm a computer, server or network. Now, it can steal the data, damage a system or corrupt the network. A malware might include virus, worms, Trojan viruses, spyware, adware and ransomware. Now, usually malwares are causing threat through an email attachment or when we download a particular software or any of the places where we are going and clicking the link. Sometimes it is also possible that a malware has been installed on the background of the network and it is silently running, causing damages to the computer network. Now, each of these malwares cause different types or severity of threats. One needs to install an antivirus software or have secure measures to protect from the malwares. Some of the types of malware attacks are ransomware, where a user's data is encrypted and demands for the money to release the data. Adware, where the displays unwanted advertisements on the user's computer. Worms, now these are programs which run viral on the computer's network. Keyloggers, that tracks a user's activity on their computer. Trojans, like disguises itself as a legitimate software to gain access to a system. Phishing attacks are common these days. Now, with the number of email transactions occurring, we are all prone to phishing attacks. A phishing attack, a type of cybercrime where scammers trick people into sharing sensitive information. The goal is to steal money, install malware or gain access to login information. Now, phishing need not be only on the mails. It could also be through certain calls or through links where we unknowingly click on the links are prone to the threat. Some of the common types of phishing attacks are spear phishing, a personalized attack that targets a specific person or group. Smishing, a text scam message that tricks people into replying or clicking a link. Whaling, a targeted attack on senior executives or other high-profile users. Clone phishing, a fake email that looks like it's from the trusted sender. Then wishing, a phone call that tricks people into sharing sensitive information. Now, these days we are finding calls which say like KYC is the reason we are calling and click on the link. So the user might unknowingly click on that at the individual level. And company superiors are also posing this threat where their calls, their messages are cloned and posted to the network of their clients, and extortion of money is happening. Now, the threat is there for individuals as well as organizations. The next form of security threat is ransomware. So, malware is a broad term for any kind of hostile computer software or code with wide range of nefarious purpose. Ransomware is a specific class of malware that performs an action that can typically be undone for a financial bribe. Ransomware can encrypt data or may threaten to release sensitive information, damaging if you even have appropriate backups. Now, this is more like somebody has kidnapped you and asking money to release the person kidnapped or to do the favor. So, on ransomware, usually there is data stealing and then there might be releasing of sensitive information. So, the organizations or individuals have to secure their data from the ransomware attacks. The next form of cyber threat is denial of service. Now, this is one of the common problem when we use network computers or whenever we are accessing data through other networks. Denial of service or distributed denial of service is a type of attack which aims to make a system unavailable by sending it meaningless traffic. Instead of serving data to real users, the system instead spends resources dealing with these requests. In a standard DOS attack, traffic comes from single source. In DDoS or distributed denial of service attack, the traffic comes from wide range of systems. A botnet such as one created via account is a notorious tool for DDoS attacks. Now, this is like repeated requests are made for the users to click on the link or network failures occur. So, the user might be willing to, retry, and at some point, it opens the gate for the computer networks. Now, denial of service might be a fake layer created by these cybercrimes. The next one we have is MITM, men in the middle attacks. Quite interestingly, when the conversation happens between the two intermediaries, like let us say I as a customer is calling the bank or a company might be reaching out to its client. In any of these interesting cases, there is this unknown cyber criminal who comes in between and starts posing as the customer to the bank or bank to the customer. Likewise, the middleman might also be posing as a man representing a stake vendor or a client to the company or as a company to the vendor. Now, once they start doing this, they'll be able to extract the information and put this information together. So, in MITM, the attacker inserts himself between two devices in communication. The attacker can impersonate one or both sides of the communication session, gaining information and illicit access to systems. Computers using public or unsecured Wi-Fi networks can be targets of this type of attack. Now, to secure from this, one needs to use a secured private network, or it is always advised not to connect your devices on Wi-Fi with any open networks. Now, we have zero-day exploits. An exploit is a method for taking advantage of a vulnerability in a computing system that causes unwanted behavior. This can potentially be used to install malware. A zero-day exploits take advantage of otherwise unknown vulnerabilities in the system. Now, they are not yet patched, potentially because of specific system is not properly updated. Now, one of the measures for this is frequently updating your operating systems or software applications. Now, most of the times when we buy the computer system, we would have bought it some years or months ago, and that might not be prepared to secure or protect itself from the cyber threat which is occurring in the recent times. So, these organizations keep releasing the updated package or versions of security layers which needs to be installed on the computer systems. And this is possible with the help of updating of computer systems over network. Now once this is done, the operating system or the software applications or any of these packages will have a secured layer around them to combat the recent threats created by these cyber criminals. Now we understood various types of cyber threats. Cyber criminals are always thinking of new ways to attack, create new threats. Now this might not be at the individual level, this could also be at an organization level or at a very large economy level. We have one of the examples we are reading through to understand how large systems can also be infected by this. A cyber attack in May 2023, it was called as the CLOP ransomware gang, which exploited the software vulnerability to steal data from file transfer service provider. So the attackers installed what is known as web shell to steal the data, exposing critical vulnerabilities. Now this affected overall around 2,000 organizations, including prominent ones like the New York City Public School System and British Airways. Such events highlight the importance of cybersecurity. So when threats happen at this scale, it is requiring a huge protection layer or a strong system which needs to be part of every information system. So who takes care of creating a strong secured layer from these cyber criminals? So let us look into some of the best practices and measures taken for protecting the cyber threats. So at individual level, it could be like safe use of internet, either disconnecting the internet when not in use, entering safe modes. And at organizational level, creating awareness amongst the business stakeholders, employees who are using the computer network and sending frequent reminders to change their passwords, access roles and to securely use the network or sharing of information. Scan of threats frequently on the large systems as well as individual systems. These days, even on the individual laptops, automated scans are enabled in the background. Analyze the web browser for any malicious or suspicious activities or threats frequently. Push them into one place and treat them properly, clearing the cache and temporary files as and when the data is getting accumulated. So with the increase of digital interdependence, it's not at the individual level. www, World Wide Web, puts us risk of connecting with somebody on the other side of the world whom we have never seen. Now this is true with the business organization also. So today, right from the stage of creating the software, like at the designing level, security layers are ensured. Firewall protection systems are inbuilt layers which can protect these sort of threats. At organizational level, there are network and cloud security layers created to protect the data. Similarly, when it comes to governance, government is taking lot of measures to protect the data. And organizations, governments are creating frequent awareness programs and sensitizing the users on how to protect the data. And when something goes wrong, one need not get scared. Every country has its own information data protection rights and measures. So being aware of that and reaching out to the right body or person for help would be the best method in case of if it is an individual or as a citizen when we have a cyber threat. At organizational level, there are IT admins and departments who take care of such threats. Now with this, it doesn't mean everything is easy. There are still some challenges with respect to the cyber threats. Now, one of the major challenge is it is a continuous activity, like information systems are getting updated. Likewise, hackers and criminals are also busy in creating malicious wares or wrong softwares which would come and attack and create a threat for the cyber data. So it is a continuous activity. It's not easy to combat this. Every time there is a program, you need to design a program to counter it. Like a virus is there, you need to design an antivirus for that. So it is a continuous activity. You need to frequently keep on updating. This consumes both money and cost. and efforts, and you need to be vigilant 24/7 because internet and business offerings are occurring 24/7 across the world. Because Internet of Things, lot of devices are getting connected, and this poses more threat on cyberspace. Every country frequently keeps updating, amending their IT law. So it is very, very challenging for organizations to update themselves and incorporate all these measures. Meeting with these compliances has been one of the greatest challenge for individuals and organizations who are dealing with the digital data. And then there is this last challenge, work from home, the new work model, which allows employees to take the computer systems and softwares, hardwares to their home, where the organizations do not have control on what's happening at the hardware and the software end. So organizations have one of the challenge of being vigilant on how to monitor with the hardware and the softwares which has been in the custody of their employees, which has gone outside the organization. Though there are measures for all these things, it is challenging for the organizations to every time update, invest and spend time on analyzing this. So some of the best practices which could be followed are defining the object, telling them what could be the triggers or situations which could cause these threats, and creating awareness about the threats, and if case threat happens, how the threat should be managed, like the risk management definitions. So in case of organizations, the risk management covers with all the compliance and set of procedures and measures. Now at individual level, there is where government and today most of the countries are also creating what we call it as the cyber police or cyberspace police who are taking care of this cyber threats. Now at individual level or at organization level, we have MFA or what we call it as multi-factor authentication, consistently updating the softwares and patch management, educating and training the employees, having a secured data encryption methods. Not only this, frequent monitoring of network security with firewalls like employee firewalls or intrusion detection systems like IDS, intrusion prevention systems IPS in place. These are some of the measures followed at organizational level. So it is everybody's responsibility to protect the data, whether it is individual, organizational or at a national level. Let us take a quick look of the points discussed in this session. We started with understanding the fundamentals of cyberspace, cybercrime, cybersecurity and threats, importance of cybersecurity, types of cybersecurity, key areas of cybersecurity, cybersecurity threats, and we moved on to discuss the challenges to cybersecurity, best practices and measures followed by individual to organizations to a country where today data is massively generated and needs to be handled. Now with this there are also set of people who are causing threat. Now with this we also need a system which protects us from that threat. Now with all this discussion we are closing today's topic. Let us take a quick look at the references used for today's session. Some of the interesting facts. Thank you.